everyone, and welcome back to my sewing room. This week's video is a little bit different because I was hoping to show you the completed flimsy of the vintage quilt that I'm working on. As you can see on the design board, just pop that up there. I haven't got a flimsy yet to share with you because these half square triangles that I've decided to do the border in are taking forever and a day. I don't mind, but they are taking a long time to put together. It's not the sewing, it's the selection of the half square triangles, the colour fabrics, the way that I'm placing them next to each other. That's what's taking the time. My hope is not to have the two of the same fabric designs touching on the half square triangles, and I don't mind. It's not the end of the world if they do, but so far I've managed to make sure that they don't. I'm constructing these half square triangles in little 4 patches. I was inspired to make this quilt by a lot of vintage quilts that I've been looking at, and there's a 19th century one that I particularly like the border of that used half square triangles in a sort of haphazard way, and I wanted to recreate that in my border, and that's what's taking the time. And if you saw me last time, I was a little bit in a quandary trying to decide whether or not that I wanted to put pinwheels in this random selection of half square triangles, and I knew I didn't want to use the rust or the teal fabric as the half square triangle.
Had all the chances.
My husband's just popped in and popped out again. He's talking football. Saturday is his football day, so I doubt if we'll see him again. So as I was just saying, the teal and the rust would have made quite dominant pinwheels on the border, and I decided that I wanted it to be quite muted. I like the odd half square triangle in the teal and the rust, but I wanted a muted sort of finish if I was going to use pinwheels. He's phoned me. This is what he does. I've just checked on him. I think everything's okay apart from the usual woes of his football team. So getting back to the edging, I decided that I would put these 4 patches together in sort of 3 bands, and I've decided that I'll use the dominant teal and rust scattered around in the inner band, because I'm constructing this quilt in a sort of medallion style. I've started with the centre and worked my way out until I've got these zigzags, and now I'm working on these half square triangles, which will be, like I say, in 3 bands. So the first band, there's the scattered rust and teal, and then there's a centre band that I've put in, and I have used pinwheels. And then on the outside of that band, I decided that I would put a teal and a rust half square triangle so their tips are touching. And so those 4 squares that you can see on the board, they are the cornerstones for the edging. So they are all joined together, and on the top panel there you can see I've worked out now where I want to put all of those half square triangles, and I have created all of the 4 patches, and I just need now to join them all together. That's all. So that's quite laborious, but I am enjoying it, so I'm not in a hurry to finish that. So I haven't got the backing yet. I've been looking, still nothing that's caught my eye, and so once I do find the backing, I'll crack on with that, because this will be made this week. I said that last week, but no, I think this will be made this week. So that is really the catch-up of this vintage style quilt. Now, the interesting thing about this is that it is an early 19th century quilt that I've looked at for the border. And in our local castle,
Fancy some fish and chips today, Diane.
he's back again. The answer to that question is yes, I wouldn't mind some fish and chips today. I better go and check again. So in the 19th century, our town, Tamworth, hosted Queen Victoria's visit. So she came to our town, and that is the inspiration for the exhibition in the castle that's showing at the moment. So our local students from the college, textile students and fashion designers, they looked at that experience, they looked at the 19th century for inspiration, and they've created some dresses and some underwear, and it was really lovely, a lovely exhibition. So I have taken lots of images of that, and so I will share that with you after I've showed you my garden. If you're a regular viewer, you'll know that we had quite a lot of work done this year in our garden, and I've replanted some shrubs along the outside of the garden, and they're overwintered fine. So there's a little shot of the outside of the garden, and you can see all the daffodils are up, so spring is there. And then on the inside, I will start with a view from my back doorstep, and it scans around the garden, and you can see spring is definitely on its way. And I'll share some little images of the things that are up and coming up, and some of the hellebores are going over. Some of them have got different flowering periods, so some are just coming up and some are just finishing. So I'll share that with you now. So that's my garden, and before I show you my castle visit, I think I'll explain a little bit about our town. It's quite sad really, the actual town centre, because there's lots of historic buildings in there, and they're spending a lot of money refurbishing the town, and it looks beautiful, but like a lot of market towns, all the shops are closing. Every time I go up, there's more shops that have gone. So it's quite sad really, but we do have a fabulous castle, and we do have some beautiful castle grounds. I'll show you the view now from the bandstand, and you can see that there are beds that are layered up going up the side of the hill, and normally those beds at this time of year are alive, bright with colour. Unfortunately, because of all this heavy rain, it all took a battering, and we've had a lot of high winds as well, so they're looking a little bit sorry for themselves. But you can see in the background the castle, and the castle was originally a Mott and Bailey castle, if you are interested in architecture, ancient castles. And we were once, I suppose, our town's claim to fame was we were once the capital of Mercia, like the centre of England. And what I will do in this next part of the video, as we work our way round the castle to get to the exhibition, it's in the withdrawing room. Everybody needs a withdrawing room, and so the exhibition was held there. So I'll show you a little bit around the castle first. So you can see this is the lead up to the castle, and then as you walk around the path you get to the very top, and there you get a good view of the front of the castle. Our county, Staffordshire, have spent a lot of money and a lot of time gaining money from different sorts of grants to keep our castle in good repair. And over the years they've improved the visitors' experience. I think a lot of that was provided for because in 2009 there was a horde, a Saxon horde, Anglo-Saxon hoard of gold and silver found in our local area, the biggest that's ever been found. So they hold pieces of that or replicas of that, but there are some tiny bits in there that you can look at, and you're provided with magnifying glass so you can see some of the intricate detail of the fine craftsmanship of the people that made all this gold and silver. And there's the Glasgow Talk, which is a very famous piece of adornment for the Anglo-Saxons, and that's there for us to see. And there are pieces of the hoard that are scattered in museums across the county and also in Birmingham Museum. And so they've set up a lovely exhibition now, hands-on, like I say. There's a little bit of a interactive video. I'll run a few seconds of that for you to see. And it's all about the life of making a sword. Like I said, the craftsmanship in this work that we can see, you just can't believe how fantastic it is with really, minimal tools. And so there's that part of the exhibition. And not only did we have the luck of finding the hoard, but also we have Athelflaed, which was the daughter of Alfred the Great. And she became the Lady of the Mercians, a warrior queen, sometimes call her a queen. But she was a pioneering woman, and apparently she had lots of guile in military manoeuvres. And then when you move on, you go across up the tower. You can see from the roof of the castle and look across the land. You can see there's an image of all of the surrounding area. So it was a perfect spot, really. It's by two rivers, and it's also got lots of flat land, so you can see if there's anybody wanting to invade you. So it's a good high spot. And then to get from different parts of the castle, you go outside on these little narrow parapets. Yeah, it's good fun. So you go through there and through little doorways, creaky doorways, and then I like things like the graffiti that you see on the glass. There's a piece of graffiti edged into the glass. Bearing in mind that at the time this glass was in there, it cost a fortune to make glass and put it in castles, but someone decided that they would etch a little message in there. And then once you've learned about the ancient part of the castle and everything that went on, you move through time and you come to the Victoria era. And there is a famous family, the Cook family, and the interesting links between the exhibition and this family was he created off the peg clothes, one of the first manufacturers to do that. And so that connection of making clothes fits in nicely with the exhibition of these dresses. And so some of the rooms they have furnished in Victorian attire, and you can work your way through. Some of them I've put images through, and I'll just let them tell their own story. I'll play a little bit of music and you can wander through some of the cook rooms until we get to the withdrawing room. And so here we are now in the withdrawing room, and it's a fitting place, I think, to hold these dresses. I think they sort of conjure up the sort of feeling of, important visitors coming into the withdrawing room and being received by the lady of the house. And so they're sort of scattered around, and I've taken close-up images of each of the dresses and underwear, and so again I'll let them tell their own story. So that's it for this week's video. So a little bit different from usual, but I didn't have really enough to make a video of the quilt, and so I thought I would share with you what else I've been doing. The garden is trying its best to come to spring, but the weather keeps saying hold on a little bit. And then poor daffs and narcissi were battered with really high winds the other night. Some were broken off at the base, so I've picked those up and they're in a vase in the house. And it'll do what it needs to do when it needs to do it. And I'll show you how spring comes when things start really budding. And the exhibition, I hope you enjoyed that. I had a fantastic day. I love anything like that. And so I will see you again next week. So enjoy your sewing, get out and about and enjoy the beautiful weather if you can. And remember, get your vitamin D, daily vitamin D, 10 minutes minimum. So I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.